everyone, Jen Holt here at Inspired by a Purpose to bring you your pose of the day. So today's pose is called Virabhadrasana or Warrior 3 pose. This pose is a standing pose. It's a balance pose, so we're going to be balancing on one foot. It's great for strengthening the feet, the ankles, the legs, the glutes, the abdominals. Depending on what arm variation you're doing, you're also getting a good workout for the arms, the shoulders, and the upper back, even the chest. So let's get right into it. I'll show you a few variations, starting with just kind of the basics of the pose. So you want to make sure you're standing tall, toes and heels aligned, ankles, hips, and shoulders aligned. Think about standing tall, lifting up through the top of the head and pushing the ground away with the feet. Make sure your knees are not locked out, and you might even check in with the pelvis if you feel that it's rotating back or if the tail is rotating under. See if you can find a little bit of a more neutral pelvis. So you might think about tucking the tail in just slightly. Make sure you're squeezing the lower belly and finding a focal point. Now, when it comes to our focal point, we just want to pick a little spot, something that's not moving, and that's going to help us maintain our balance. Try not to pick something on the ground. It's usually more useful to pick something up ahead, kind of at gazing point, because when we tend to look down, we tend to go down. So we want to stay lifted, stand tall. With that said, let's get into it. So your arms can be on the hips, they can be out like wings, or at the heart. I'm going to take my hands to the hips just to start so I can make sure what's happening with my hips as I start to step the right toes back. And so you'll notice I'm keeping my leg really long, I'm pushing the floor away with a standing foot, and I'm really standing tall. So already we're in a little bit of balance because we only have the right toes down. Now when you're ready for more, we're gonna really make sure we're engaging the core, have your focal point, and then we'll slowly lean the chest forward as we pick the foot up off the ground. And what you'll notice as I'm coming in here is that my body stays in that one straight line. We don't wanna be here or here, we want to keep that extension. When you're ready for more, you might be able to move your right all the way into that capital T position so that the right heel is flexing or kicking out, the chest is reaching forward, hips are even and square to the ground. Hands again on the hips, out like wings, or if you're ready for a more advanced variation, you can bring the arms by the ears, reaching forward with the fingers. That's gonna bring a little bit more pressure onto the shoulders, the spine, and bring a little bit more weight forward, so that's just a little bit more advanced. Now, there's lots of ways that you can use a wall, a chair, or other things around you to support you in this pose, because it can be big and challenging if you're just starting out with it. So let's go over the wall variation here today. So in order to do that, you're gonna place your hands on the wall. All four corners of the hands pushing the wall away. Step the feet back. So we want to try to get a long line. You want to make sure you're not dumping the belly down. The belly is pulled in, reaching the tailbone back, the head forward, hands planted. Then we'll kick back through the leg, one leg. You can start with the right leg or the left, kicking out through the heel, squeezing the belly in. And again, we want to try to maintain even hips. So try to avoid the hip lifting or dipping. You can also use the wall, and this one is a little bit more advanced, so just be aware. You can have a chair also that you can hold onto. We're going to take a foot onto the wall, so this helps get that extension back, but it kind of makes, sometimes you feel as though you're being pushed forward. So just be cautious with that. We're going to take the foot and we're gonna step it onto the wall. I'm gonna give myself just a little bit more space here. So we're gonna step the whole foot onto the wall. Again, hips are even, long line from the heel to the top of the head, reaching the top of the head away, pushing that standing leg, pulling the belly in. Arms can be out like wings, at the heart, or you can work on reaching them up, and you could be holding onto a chair here too. So that was our pose. Oh, I'll show you one more variation for those of you that are advancing. If you have a yoga block, a book, or something like that, you can also do your pose with a standing foot on the block, and this is just gonna add an extra little element for balance because the block is kind of squishy, unless you have one of those cork blocks. But even still, that little bit of lift off the ground can make a big difference. So I hope you have fun playing with that. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to drop them in the comments for us. We're happy to look at those. And we hope to see you soon, either here in center or online.